Hello and welcome to another week of Warhammer 3 news. I am the Heir of Carthage, and I'll be bringing this to you in a very overdramatic voiceover, just so that I can match the tone of the news that we received. Yes, we finally got a matchup between Nurgle and Slaanesh. Okay, I can't do it. I'm sorry, people. Don't get me wrong, the videos that CA makes are well made, but I'm not gonna lie, the dramatic voiceover is just a little too much for me, but hey, if you enjoy it, go ahead, and I had to at least take a minute to poke fun at it. So yeah, another week has gone by and a whole bunch more Warhammer 3 news has dropped. Honestly, most of this news they drop is a lot of fluff and very little meat, and this video is probably not a massive exception to that rule, but anytime you get a video where it shows actual gameplay, there's definitely going to be good stuff you can pick up there. So yes, they did do a number of announces this week. Like there was like the Enter the World of Nurgle trailer and a couple other announcements. But like I said, I'm going to focus this week's recap on just this battle video. So I'm going to give you just a couple of pieces of information here, and then we'll move on and you can watch the unfiltered video as CA presented it so that you can see all the information straight from them. Now, first off, let's start with the roster. This information was handed to us, and so you can see here what units Nurgle brought to the battle and what units Slaanesh brought to the battle. I would expect, and you'll probably see in this gameplay, that it's a choke point battle. That's the kind of battle I would expect that Nurgle would probably be better at, as you're going to have all kinds of like plagues and regeneration and, poisons and slowing and stuff like that, whereas Slaanesh is probably a lot more of a high attack, faster moving type thing. So I expect that we'll see that in the battle. You can check for yourself. In fact, I recommend that you be ready to pause the battle at some points going through it, because there'll be a unit card that pops up. You can get a closer look at that unit card and then get a better understanding of those units. And when I said that there's more meat in this than there was other stuff from Total War this week, and that's because in these battles you can at least get an idea of what these units will be like and what the gameplay for the faction is going to be like. So hopefully this was helpful getting to see all the units. Other than that, I don't really have a ton to say about this battle. If I was just giving you my 2 cents, they did give us this footage at 30 frames per second, so it's probably going to seem a little choppy. I'm going to export it at 60 frames a second, but I can only show you what I can show you. The game looks pretty good. The gameplay looks exciting. Doesn't look like a huge departure from Warhammer 2, which is good because Warhammer 2 is extremely good. Just looks like improvements. Obviously, I'm just kind of chomping at the bit and going crazy wanting to get my hands on this game and get you all some gameplay that doesn't have to run through the filter of a marketing campaign. Now, again, I'm not bashing CA. CA is doing what they think is best in a marketing campaign here, and I don't think that what they're doing is wrong or anything else like that. They're obviously just trying to get the hype train going because this game releases in about 2.5 months. Personally, though, I'm just kind of at the point where we've had so many small announcements and so many reveals and so much, faction mechanics and blogs and all this stuff that I'm just like, all right, already just give me some freaking gameplay, some campaign gameplay. So that's where I'm at. So that's why I don't have a ton of comments on this. Again, this battle's not going to be terribly different from the type of stuff that we've seen in the battle videos that I had prior to this. You know what I mean? We're getting a good idea what the UI looks like. We're getting a good idea what gameplay looks like and what the battle footage looks like. This is just going to give you a different flavor of that and let you see some of these Nurgle units and Slaanesh units. Now, I do have to say that the Nurgle units and the Slaanesh units do look very unique. They look like a lot of fun, and I have to give CA credit. They were doing very good on the Warhammer 2 DLC in terms of making all the factions and look very unique and feel unique, and clearly they've carried this into Game 3, as we've seen that each flavor of Chaos really does have its own unique feel and look, and I think that people are really going to enjoy this. So am I excited about all this? Yeah, I'm excited. But, like I said, this is marketing videos, and while this is great to get us excited, I'm just dying for some gameplay. But again, that's not to say that all this stuff is bad or we should be upset or whatever it is, right? I'm looking for the gameplay, and that's when I'll be the most excited. But again, you're going to get some good looks at those units here. Game looks good in my opinion. The battle looks like fun. We're not going to learn a whole ton outside of that, so take it for what it's worth. And then please get down in the comments and tell me what you think. What do you think of the way the game's stacking up so far? Do you have a faction you're most excited for? Anyway, hope to hear from you all. Heir of Carthage signing out. Make sure to stick around here because, again, right after I'm done talking and I shut my yap, I'm just going to have the video the way that CA made it so that you can see that.
Death. Inevitable, inescapable, irrefutable. Where there is death, there is fear. And from that fear, the Father was born. The Plague Lord, the chaos god of disease, decay, destruction, and death by rebirth. Nurgle is undoubtedly the oldest of the ruinous powers, for death and decay are as old as life itself. The garden and its continuous growth and care are chief amongst the Fly Lord's concerns. That prized garden, diligently nurtured and toiled, stands sullied under the presence of indolent hedonists, seeking expansion for their excessive and decadent domain. These playthings of Slaanesh have courted the ire of Kugath Plaguefather, the fetid brewmaster, the rotting poxmaker. Kugath's fascination with the breeding of fresh, virulent life has earned him high favor among Nurgle's chosen. Obsessed with concocting the perfect contagion, the Plaguefather returns to the realms of chaos only rarely, but sees such visits as the opportune time to trial his newest plagues on rival demons. Nurglings spew pus and disease as they burst on the knife-edged claws of Slaanesh's demonettes, whilst plague-bearers wade their oozing masses into the riot of ecstasy and infection. At the border of the melee, the Plaguefather mulls, mixing concoctions both of material and mind. This sordid invasion feels to Kugath reminiscent of Nakari, Slaanesh's notorious keeper of secrets. Kugath has served Grandfather Nurgle long enough to recognize a feint. A feint indeed. For why else would Nakari himself not be leading the charge? It is unlike the Arch-Tempter to abstain from giving and receiving the gift of pain. The young god Slaanesh has much to learn in the ways of subterfuge and could stand to study the arts employed and mastered by the great conspirator, with whom Nurgle carries a mutual and enduring contempt. But what schemes could Nakari be plotting? A full-scale assault on the garden? Unlikely. The feint here would suggest an attempt on Kugath's mortal territories. So it is the material realm Nakari means to blind the Plaguefather to. A valiant effort, but Kugath sees the truth eventually. Nurgle may be slow at times, but it's by design. Content with his assessment, Kugath means to end this distraction quickly. But first he must contend with Slaanesh's greater demon. This Keeper of Secrets unleashes its Lash of Slaanesh spell, felling a dozen weakened Forsaken with a single whip. The mere act of witnessing the Keeper's power fans Slaanesh's lesser demons into a blissful rapture, injecting them with vigor and enhancing their martial prowess. The affront against the garden lasts longer than Kugath had wanted. Indeed, he itches to return to the mortal realms to brew new plagues and discover Nakari's schemes. In an effort to overwhelm the Epicurean invaders, Kugath summons a tide of eager Nurglings. They swarm forth and explode on command, spreading disease and pus across the battlefield. Not satisfied with the explosion, the Plaguefather employs the law of Nurgle to summon up light boil. This festering, pulsing blister grows up through the ground before bursting in a shower of disgusting fluids. Slaanesh's demons wither and die beneath the strain of a dozen maladies. The garden is again secured, and Kugath can turn his attentions to the mortal realm at last. How many potential plagues already lost to Nakari's schemes, Kugath cannot say. He knows only that the Arch-Tempter will suffer every sickness known to Grandfather Nurgle. The Father would expect no less.